What's going on, gamers? Welcome back to another Top 3 Tuesday. In this week's episode, we're talking about my top 3 favorite gaming memories. Coming up. Well, a lot of us grew up playing video games, enjoying them, collecting them, so we have plenty of memories with them. Coming in at number 3 is playing the Sega CD for the first time. Now, I played the original Sega Genesis a lot with my neighbor. He had Sega Genesis, I had Nintendo, so I checked out Sonic the Hedgehog, X-Men, and other great classics. But his neighbor actually got the Sega CD, so we went over his house one day. Went down to the basement, and we were blown away that it had full motion video. First game we popped in, I think, was Sewer Shark, and that one's definitely a Sega CD classic. You're going through the sewers in the future, blowing up mutant rats and spiders and other crazy stuff, and the dialogue's just hilarious. I think we probably played that and Corpse Killer for a little bit. I love the Jamaican guy in that. Definitely a fun shooter game, and you know, zombies are cool with kids. But yeah, playing that Sega CD for the first time and like, wow, games on CD, you know, we're so used to cartridge and everything. It was definitely a cool gaming memory.
Hey, bro, I like your piece, man. Yeah, we gonna party some now, huh?
And moving on to number 2 is the first time I got my PlayStation 1 system. Now, when we picked up the PlayStation 1 and I got it hooked up to my TV, there was an issue. There were black lines going up and down the TV screen, and I couldn't clearly see the game that was playing on the PlayStation. We thought, what could be wrong with it? So we ended up calling in the manual the helpline to see if we were hooking it up wrong. And they explained to us that certain TVs, I guess, weren't compatible with the system, but they had an offer where you could send in your PlayStation and they'll fix it for free. Although it took a couple weeks. But to compensate you, PlayStation offered you a free video game. You got to choose between a couple different games, and they weren't like cheap sports titles. There was actually some good titles in there, and I ended up picking, boom, Jersey Devil. Now this is a fun platformer style game, kind of like a Crash Bandicoot, and you go around collecting items. And I thought it was a really great addition to the PlayStation library. I didn't have many games, I was a young kid, and we couldn't afford to buy a lot of games. So, one up to PlayStation there to offering a free game that was pretty great to play and to fix the system. So now it worked on my TV and I got to enjoy it. And number 1 gaming memory has to be going to Blockbuster Video on Christmas. Every year my mom would get me a gift card to Blockbuster Video. I would open up all my gifts and we would head to my aunt's house for dinner and hang out there for a few hours. But on the ride home we would stop by Blockbuster Video so I could use my gift card. And they were open on Christmas in case people wanted to get videos to watch and hang out with their family or maybe rent some games. And I browsed the used video game section. I remember seeing the N64 games in their plastic acrylic cases and you could like shake them around. Some of them had manuals, some didn't. Super Nintendo games, so I'd try to get 1 or 2 games to play. And of course we were on school vacation, so I got to play that game for a couple days without interruption. It was definitely an awesome gaming memory that will now be missed because there's only one Blockbuster Video left out in Oregon. And people won't know going to the rental store and looking at video games and picking up one to rent for the weekend anymore. And that's a shame. But nevertheless, a great gaming memory. Blockbuster Video, wow, what a difference. Well, shout out to Chris Levi 13 for suggesting this week's topic. Let me know in the comments down below what one of your gaming memories were. And consider subscribing if you're not already. I put out weekly videos. And this Thursday there will be a new Pass or Play video with special guests, the Retro Bros. Tune in to see what game they pick to pass or play. And as always, gamers, I'm Russ Lyman, and keep your world fun bit by bit. I'll see you next video. And I want to give a super shout out to all my Patreon supporters: Joey Ellis, George Sandoval, Joseph Riviera, Nintendo, Joe Sheevy, David Apuzzo, Maynard, Dr. Pess, Brian Culpepper, TechWizX, Matthew Hannigan, and everyone on my Patreon page. A link below if you want to join. And I'll see you later.